there are two types of food. Let's just read floaters and sinkers. Floaters aren't tailgate. Salad is a floater. Sushi is a floater. I've never eaten sushi nor been in a sushi bar, and I probably never will be. It's a floater. It's light. It stays up there.
Tailgating foods are all sinkers.
That's it.
Chili is a sinker. Pork chuck stew is a sinker. They sink down there and keep you on the ground.
Gdayall, and welcome to episode 72, Tailgating.
Woohoo! Yeah.
I feel there's going to be good food. How are you? I know it has been a tough week for people that wanted their teams in the Super Bowl. Both of us.
Yeah, we both. I know. After such a triumph the week before, and then come down for one play, and that was the end of the first half. And that bit them in the butt.
I get to watch the quarterback fall apart the whole last quarter.
All right.
Sorry. Producer is jumping in there. Our disappointment is for the Chiefs for Phil.
Yeah, thank you.
And
I feel your pain too.
And the 49ers. Anyone need a quarterback?
Yeah.
Free.
Okay. The Jets or the Giants. Do they still have a team? There's somebody suing them because of misinformation because they both play in Jersey.
Yeah.
And they're both called New York.
Oh, God.
So somebody's suing them. Yeah.
Some people got a lot of time in their hands.
Yep, we know people like that.
Yeah, we do. We absolutely do.
Yeah.
Now, we've got Super Bowl 56 coming up Monday, the 14th.
And 56. So this is number 56.
Yep.
54 years in a row. Never has a Super Bowl been playing in the home ground. Now we got two in a row.
That's I love how that shifts. That's good. I can't go for the Rams no matter what. So
well, anyway, let's skip that and go on to what we're going to be talking about today. So who am I for 500?
Okay.
Boom, whop, bang, donk.
Not only because my mother's great love for him. John Madden.
Yes, and we'll be talking about all his love of food and tailgating.
He was a great man. He died at the end of December in 2021 at age 85. He was a big part of my mom loves him. Leslie loves him.
He's a big guy too.
Well, she also has a thing for Tony Soprano, but likes a guy who likes his food. And I can't believe was living in my area, sort of thing, about an hour and a bit away, and I can't believe Mom never ran into him.
He was never there.
That's probably right. He's on his bus. So our opening segment today is going to be dedicated to John Madden, and then we're going to cover tailgating, which is sort of synonymous with him. Yeah.
So we'll get into a little bit of history with John. So he was first drafted in 1958 by the Eagles on the 21st round, but he never played because he injured his knee in first training camp. How bad is that?
That is bad.
So during rehab, he watched the games, but he had a degree from college, and he's blended his teaching with his love for football. That's how he became a coach. So he got hired by Al Davis.
Do you remember that song, The Team Al Davis Gave Us?
Yes.
No.
The Team Al Davis Gave Us.
Just win, baby.
Anyway, please continue, Phil.
Yeah, as an Oakland Raiders linebacker coach in 1967, he elevated head coach in 69 at the age of 32. Quite young.
Yep.
Yeah. He coached the Raiders to Super Bowl 11.
Yes.
With a 32-14 victory of the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota in 1977. Yeah, thank you. He joined CBS, so this is how he got on the TV with Pat Summerall. Everybody knows that name.
Yes,
in 1981. And then
absolutely.
Madden and Summerall joined Fox's NFL in 1994. I can't believe that long ago that Fox was making a presence.
And I was just listening to a podcast this week, and it's called Business Wars, and it was about ESPN versus Fox, and it's when Fox started. They made the deal for the football. So
I have to get the Aussies in there somehow.
That's right.
Right. And so Madden's contract was more than at the time than any other annually than any other NFL player. So he made more money than the players on the field.
Mm.
And he was doing the commentating. But they still make quite a bit of money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're still in the millions, those guys. So Madden joined Al Michaels in 2002 for NBC's Monday Night Football when Howard Cosell, speaking of sports.
Like I said, Howard in his wig.
Okay.
Now he actually ended up working every Thanksgiving game. So he would award a turkey or a turducken to the winning team. He would also award a turkey drumstick to players of the winning teams following the Thanksgiving game, and that ended up with him coming up with a 6-legged turkey. He called his final game in 2009. So in the Super Bowl between the Cardinals and the Steelers. In 1984, he created the All Madden team. Now, this is sort of important too, because this is how he looked for recipes in this book.
Oh,
Right? Because some of them aren't pretty. They're not, but they've got heart. So
they're
his
wholesome.
so his All Madden team would be for defensive linemen and linebackers. It's about Jack Youngblood playing with a busted leg, Lawrence Taylor wreaking havoc on the offense, with Reggie White making the other guy wish he'd put a little more in the collection plate at church. It's about a guy who's got a dirty uniform, mud on his face, and grass coming out the ear hole of his helmet.
And he had a way with words.
He did, and I was giggling as I was reading.
That's why he did the color commentating.
He did. From 1988 on, Madden lent his name and voice and created input to
EA Sports. It's in the game.
It's in the game. The EA video, Madden NFL, and I used to have to rush out and get the new ones for Brendan. Like, it was like, oh, the new one's out.
Because at the time, every year, the technology increased,
Yep.
and it became more realistic.
Yep.
You watch it now, it's like, is that the game you're watching? No, we're playing a game. Yeah.
It's a little bit freaky.
Yeah.
He said the game, for EA Sport was a way for people to learn about the game and participate in a game on a pretty sophisticated level. That shows his love for it. Still, he had an aversion to flying. He had lost people close to him in 1960 when the Cal Poly football team had a plane that crashed, killing 18 players and officials, which he was close to them. In 1979, he had his first panic attack on a flight originating in Florida, and he never flew on a plane again. In 87, Greyhound supplied Madden with a custom bus and drivers, so he could go day and night, 2 drivers to rotate, dubbed the Madden Cruiser. So now.
It's a doggone easy way to get around.
So that's true. But why did they
There's a lot of song lines. I mean, that's from a song line from Harry Chapin, Take the Greyhound. And the other one that we mentioned a few times by Tom T. Hall, Thank God and Greyhound, you're gone.
And it's always that part of town that your mother's like, I'm not picking you up from there. So we have a couple of Madden quotes today. And look, the first one, and this kind of shows his heart. I like to hear about what people do. That's more interesting than talking about what the hell I do. He's a true man of the people.
Yeah, and a lot of his tailgating intersperses with some of the great quotes.
Yep.
So we'll get back to those right after this short break.
Love my barbecue. Pork fat, baby back blue.
So now we're going to get into a lot of the little things about tailgating and where it started, where it began.
Yes.
So this is like our little history lesson that we normally do.
Yeah.
But no fun facts today.
Now, I think there's plenty of I think these are all little fun facts because I learned a few things. Now, shall I begin?
You can.
Now, tailgating. This is an interesting way it started. So, not football, but according to National Geographic, the history of tailgating dates all the way back to the start of the Civil War in 1861. Civilians gathered in Washington, D.C. to watch the first Battle of Bull Run.
But they line up. Hey, look, they're going to kill each other. Come on, let's go
Timmy's
get some food.
That's right. And cheer their team.
Paw.
The Union or the Confederates. People brought picnic baskets filled with minced meat, apple pies, and plum puddings. And I hope some bandages. And
Go
some
Big
whiskey.
Blue.
Yeah.
Gray is great.
It sort of goes in our history. It's like anything's a competition. There you go.
So now we get to, and then we came up with the chuck wagon. So this goes all the way back to 1866, invented by Charles Chuck Goodnight. So he also invented the word, like when you're eating too much, you chuck it up. Did that come from this too? So basically, the Chuck wagon, yeah, it probably did come from that. He got sick. He was in Chuck's wagon last night. Yeah. It's a cowboy's traveling kitchen. Chuck wagons were pulled by mules or oxen, carry food like black-eyed peas, beef stews, catfish, and biscuits. Beer began to replace the whiskey as a working man's drink of choice.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, so now here we move on to football. So now you have the Chuck wagon, so you can take things places.
Mhm.
So the first college football game tailgate, it looks like it was in 1869. Rutgers University played Princeton in New Brunswick, New Jersey. For the first time ever, fans wore colors to differentiate themselves. Well, look, I think the Union and the Confederates might have worn different colors,
Yeah.
but and by which team they were cheering
Well,
for.
they're only across the. No, they weren't across the river because Rutgers is in Newark, I believe.
People were eating chili, pork, corn, and of course, beer and whiskey.
Yeah.
And they were also still using Chuck wagons.
Yeah. So now here's I remember from Jeopardy, that there's only one state in the Union that doesn't have a state university that's named after the state.
Oh.
So like you have the State University
Yeah.
of Florida, the State University
Yeah.
of California,
Yeah.
except for
What?
Rutgers.
Oh.
Rutgers is actually the State University of New Jersey.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Well, I was never
There
going
you go.
there. I
There's a
didn't
little
look into it.
Alex
Thank you for
Trebek.
that. That's right.
Mhm.
God bless him. Yeah. Did you want to go into?
Well, when we start saying when did we start? The theory is that the Green Bay Packers coined the term tailgating in 1919, way back then. Packers fans will pack their pickups trucks around the field and sit in the back.
Yep.
So,
Maybe there's a
and I imagine
tailgate.
at that time, the NFL wasn't even created, right?
Yeah. No.
No, so so it's still ad hoc. So at this time in history, popular foods were ham, potatoes, custards. The year before the start of Prohibition, so probably they were still drinking
Beer and
sips
whiskey.
of wine, whiskey, and beer and rum and whatever else they could get their hands on. After that was prohibited, but they were close to the Canadian border. Or closer.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, and today, and even it's the evolution of it from kind of reading John Madden's book was from the late 90s to today. It's even evolved further. Tailgating is an evolution of all these historical traditions. Tailgating is simply a pre-party just before a big football game. Tailgating events can range from simple activities like getting together to share a beer just before a game to elaborate rituals marked by region-specific dishes. Usually these tailgating events are as eccentric and as wild as the fan base.
Yeah, and they vary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so on a trip that I took with my son, and we did like a boys' week, and we met Uncle Leo and stuff in Texas.
Yep.
So we went to Arlington Stadium,
Right.
and it was the tailgating started like 5 miles away from the stadium, all along the road in, and like these big pickup trucks with giant screens on them, satellite dishes, it just was immense all the way through. And then the following, we were in New Orleans, and we went to the game there. And so we were in the city, and actually the Superdome there is within the city limits. So we walked there. And as you're walking there, so their form of tailgates were a little bit of a corner lot that some of say Miller would hire out. You need a pass to get in and blah, blah, blah. And that'd be their little tailgate thing. But ad hoc, there were like these, 6-piece little marching bands celebrating, going through the streets, singing out what do you call it?
Are they
with no music,
a cappella.
A cappella in the hallways of stores and stuff like that. So that's how they did it, which is like just great. These little bands, just like people just with musical instruments just coming out and doing their own little march. And
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so awesome. Well, and some of these traditions, like what you're talking about there, Phil, will come through in these because we look through a heap of universities. So we try to pick a few that had some interesting traditions. So we will go with the first one is Ole Miss. So they have the Grove. So at Ole Miss, football goes beyond just the game It's a religion.
Yeah.
The Grove, which can accommodate 25,000 screaming fans, is a 10-acre park in the center of campus. And on game day, it turns into a tent city of Rebel fans. Before any home game, the Ole Miss football team parts the seas with going with the Grove to a spectacular parade into the stadium, while all the fans of the home team go wild in the crowd. So you can just see them. It's like partying the Red Sea, literally. That's it.
Yeah. And then we got the University of Tennessee,
Mm-hmm.
the Volunteers. So we happened to be out there on our last hockey trip.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, because one of the fellows that lives now in Knoxville, and he used to play with us over here when he was working here in Australia. So he set that up for us. So a lot of the fellows went out to the game, but I remember I was with Jeanette, so I couldn't go to the game. I think I went to football game. Then if I got to go watch you play hockey. Yeah. So anyway, but I remember going across the bridge there, and you could see the alma mater of boats down the river.
Oh, yep.
Going to the game. So
well, that's also like a boat tailgate.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. I would love to see that.
And their dog is the blue-nosed hound.
So these are the volunteers.
Yep.
Yep. So that's the Vol Navy Association.
Yep.
Now, Florida State, the Party University. Seminole fans start the party on Friday night with live bands, food, and drinks. The party ends with a huge pep rally. Tailgating starts before the sun comes up on game day. This is all not surprising at all.
Yeah.
Some fans get to participate in the beating of the spirit drum. So 24 hours prior to kickoff of the biggest game of the year, so it might be homecoming, someone beats the drum continuously. Fans stand in line for a chance to be part of this tradition.
Boom, 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 boom.
Indian drum.
Yeah. And then we got the Florida State Cemetery Parade or party.
Yeah. Well,
So what they do is basically when they go on the road, and if they win on the road, they take a little bit of turf.
right.
And then they bring it back with them and they plant it in a cemetery.
I like it.
Yeah. Here's the resting place of,
That was a game. We beat them.
Yeah.
Now, University of Colorado.
There's one for you because the name of the mascot.
Cute.
Ralphie.
He's asleep on the
Sleeping
floor.
somewhere. Yeah.
So Ralphie the Buffalo is a live mascot. Now, Ralphie sounds like a boy's name, but it's a she. So she makes 2 horseshoe runs around Folsom Field to start the game and the second half. The tradition started in 1966, and Colorado is on to now Ralphie number 6.
Aw.
Do you remember when Kenzie had goldfish? She had one named Dorothy.
Yeah.
And then one day I cleaned Elmo's fish was Dorothy, and I cleaned the bowl.
And Dorothy went down the
And we
toilet.
got Dorothy number 2. I think we got up to about Dorothy number 5. And when I finally said, that's it.
No more Dorothy. Yep.
Oh, now the fancy one.
Yeah. So, and then the Harvard and Yale
Mm-hmm.
group. Well, they too on the tailgating. And
I can see lots of
they have the
ascots.
wine and cheese.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, probably doing it on the polo field before the game.
A fantastic cheese plate.
Yes.
Oh, goodness me. Now, there is this great article that was in GQ. It's quite funny. So we're going to talk about this guy. His name is Meet Kenny Pinto Ron Johnson, the wildest man in Bill's Mafia. So GQ, January 2022 article. You can find it. He is the most contrary guy. The whole article, everything they asked him, it's like, you do this, don't you? No. But I do that. You do that? No. So we just took a few little interesting things. So before this season, Johnson had attended 423 straight Bills games.
He had a good season this year, so he'd be a happy guy.
Yeah. So going all the way back to 1994. At home games, he throws his legendary tailgate, which features his red Ford Pinto.
Hasn't caught fire yet. Huh?
No.
Yeah.
I think he uses it as a barbecue.
Yeah.
So he just run through. And in this picture of him, he's on it. He's got a rake, and he's grilling things on a rake, and ends up with him being Jackson Pollock with an alarming amount of ketchup and mustard. His tailgates have only 100 or so people around 9 a.m., but swell to 1,000 around the ketchup opening ceremony time. Rituals include taking shots of 100 proof Polish cherry liqueur out of a bowling ball, pizza cooked in a filing cabinet, and of course, the condiment rain shower.
Yeah, so they just showered him with the ketchup and mustard.
That's right.
So now the question is, somebody asked him, what do you do? Do you know, he ruins his shirt all the time. And he says, no, because after they do the that little thing there with the ketchup and all that, the rain shower, he he puts it in the freezer till next March.
Oh, God.
Because you can't bleach most of it out. So just reuse it again.
Oh. He also has a 30-year-old plastic carton of milk.
Oh, really?
And they used to make each other take a swig out of it. And they go, that must taste bad or must smell awful. He goes, no. He goes, it stopped smelling about 10 years ago. I think all the bacteria went off it. So this guy's he's a keeper. Okay, and it's like, how did you decide on the cherry liqueur? He said about 30 years ago, somebody brought a bottle of that stuff to a tailgate because it was the worst tasting stuff known to mankind. But we started getting into this little ritual where we had to have shots every week. And it had to be that horrible, god-awful stuff. We had a special shot glass for it. One day, someone broke the shot glass. Somebody saw my bowling ball and said, hey, look, we can just pour it into the hole. Last year, I went through 144 bottles of that stuff.
How many people would have broke their teeth
on the
yeah, I'll put it up here, and bang, and just comes into their mouth and just broke their nose, break their teeth. Oh, yeah. But they went through 144 bottles last year of that.
Well, they wouldn't have felt their teeth breaking. So they was also asked, why do you have a bowling ball in your car? This is classy as well. The bowling ball was for a different ritual we had, which you definitely can't do today because he was told off. We used to all come with beer bottles, no cans. Bottles were more popular back then. So we would, so when we went to the game, we'd all line up our empty beer bottles like bowling pins, and we start bowling them down until they were smashed all over the place.
Yeah.
Again, he's a keeper.
So he might be like one. There might be one of him at every professional game, right?
Right.
Yeah.
There,
Yeah, you see him on TV. They're the guys that are all dressed up, and the guy on the Jets that's a fireman. And,
that's right. And there's a 49, which I thought was very sweet. There's a 49ers fan that John Madden. So the Raiders would play their game. So he come back. This is when he was still flying. So his game's across the country,
right.
And this guy, I forgot his name, but it will come to him. Still be tailgating as he's passing by on his way home. So the first thing he did when he retired was do a tailgate with this guy, 49ers fan. So now,
all right, so we'll get to a Madden quote.
That's it.
This is number 2. The only thing that smells good are fat and sugar. Tofu, being boiled, doesn't smell good. Anything that smells good is fattening. How true is that?
I think we had that conversation yesterday.
Yes.
When we were talking about grease. Grease makes it good.
Yep. If you can't see through it after the old Homer Simpson's test.
Now, we were so lucky because we were talking about tailgating and John Madden, and we found
Got the book.
We got the book, John Madden's Ultimate Tailgating. It was released in the late 90s. Tried to find it. Someone wanted like $150 for one, and someone here. So anyway, we found it, and I did not know if it would get here, but the people at Ergo Books got it in the mail right away and got it to us. So we were able, just in the nick of time, to have a look at it. So now, he talks about, I love John and his way with words. So there are 2 types of food. Let's just read floaters and sinkers. Floaters aren't tailgate. Salad is a floater. Sushi is a floater. I've never eaten sushi nor been in a sushi bar, and I probably never will be. It's a floater. It's light. It stays up there.
Yeah. And tailgating foods are all sinkers.
That's it.
Chili is a sinker. Pork chuck stew is a sinker. Burritos is definitely sinkers.
Sinker.
Jalapeno venison meatballs are sinker. That sounds pretty good.
That sounds very good.
Chinese noodles with spicy peanut sauce are sinkers. They sink down there and keep you on the ground. Yeah, don't go swimming afterwards.
Yeah.
It's not the stuff you eat in tiny bites with your finger in the air. Yeah, with the little, I got that. Yeah. Okay.
Chinese finger.
There are a lot of books of floater recipes, but this cookbook that he has is a all sinker recipe. That's the kind of food I like.
That's it.
As for John Madden.
Oh, he's beautiful.
What a game.
Yes.
So he's been driving through a lot of parking lots full of tailgates and thought that someday I want to do one of these, what people are doing there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he did. So he had to wait till he retired, huh?
Yeah, and he started walking through parking lots, talking to tailgaters, and would get the crew to shoot them and the food they were cooking. He tried to include some in every telecast. He realized when some of the people weren't even sure of who was playing,
Yeah.
that the tailgate was more important than the game to some. I don't say I was going to the game. I said I was going to the tailgate.
Yeah.
After John retired, one of the first things he did was go to a tailgate with a 49ers fan.
And, and to this day, when you watch most of those shows, especially like when they go to things like Kansas City and stuff like that, they always feature the tailgate at the beginning of the broadcast.
Yep. Well, Mr. Madden was the one that started that tradition. So
I want to know what city has the worst tailgate.
Well, you have to think there's some
Boston?
but there's some people that are crazy enough. Well, God bless them, but you can only get in depending on the stadium so many hours before.
Yeah.
But they'll sneak in early and they will shovel the snow for their parking area so they know they can set up right away.
Wow.
They don't have to muck around. But he's in the snow. You'd have to drink cherry liqueur.
Yeah.
So,
that's why you get that fire good and hot.
That's right. So we've got another Madden quote, number 3.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at tailgating, everyone does it. It's for everyone who likes to cook outdoors. It could be a 4th of July picnic.
Yeah.
So there we go.
The way I figure it, this is from John.
This is
the first cookbook where the author has driven 3 million miles to bring you 80 recipes.
And all lovingly tested by his friends in one weekend.
Really?
Yes.
That's a lot of cooking.
Yeah.
God, he's got some big friends.
I don't think the story's in here, but I'll just see.
Stop.
No, it's not. Okay, I'll do it. So they're doing 80 recipes. So they do like 20 something the first day. And they're like, oh my God, I can't eat anymore. But in the meantime, they had cooked like the slow cooked smoked stuff for tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they said, oh, look, we'll get that off. And that's how you'd usually do it anyway. You cook that at home, bring it. So as they were taking things off, they go, oh, let's just have a little bit of that beef.
Yeah.
Oh, we should try the pork. Oh, we should do. And they ended up eating
all of it.
All of it. So they were in a food coma. And so now there's different sections in the book.
Yeah. So this one we're going to go into is the Big Cuts of Meat Food Group.
That's right. So big cuts.
Yeah.
Big. Yes.
Oh, big.
Big.
Typo.
Yes. Producer.
Yeah.
Okay. So which is you don't have to barbecue everything you eat at a tailgate, but you can't have serious tailgating without a barbecue. So
cooking outside, people like to gather around a fire. That probably goes in our DNA.
That's right.
Like most men are firebugs and deep down inside.
Yes, they are. And I have a friend named Pyro from high school. Yes.
I know a lot of guys burnt down things, but they did that for a living.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty good. The important games happen in cold weather where a tailgate fire has the benefit of keeping you warm. Think of buffalo in December.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, yes.
You know what that's the Indian word for cold is buffalo, I think. Or snow.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, it would be. Well, that's our friend Dave Turpin. He's a Buffalo fan. Yes. And so the testing of these recipes happened over a weekend. And this is that story. Mm-hmm. A bunch of buddies, and they ate their way through 20 recipes the first day.
Yeah.
Now, the things that they couldn't let go of were, so they smoked 2 pork shoulders, a gigantic brisket, 2 racks of beef ribs, and a big turkey. And that's what didn't make it to the next day. So he loved tailgating so much after seeing it, he started organizing barbecue tailgates for the Raiders training camps in Santa Rosa, but just for a week. Like he'd have a week of a tailgate so the guys could enjoy it. Yeah, so he just loved it. Now,
God, I hate to see them if you're working out all day,
yes,
right, doing the training camp, you come in, you shower, you're exhausted, you're hungry, you're thirsty, and then you get all filled up on that. By the next day, you ain't going to want to move again.
I know, but he's
Yeah.
I guess it was for the morale of the team.
And
Maybe it was a
then-
team building. So
And on page 13 of your book,
yes,
you got a quote from Joe Montana.
about Joe.
Mm.
And barbecuing. So the best quarterback I have ever seen, this is John Madden, was Joe Montana. He was always cool. He did what everyone else did, but did it better and easier without any commotion. He made it look effortless. Butch Seamus, which is his friend,
Mhm.
was the Joe Montana of barbecuing. So this is the gentleman that he was going through these recipes with, and you've got smoked prime rib. That is Jim and Cheryl Posen are famous for that at Arrowhead Stadium.
Yeah, and you got garlic stuffed fresh ham roast on a spit. by
Yep.
Paul Sawalski from Steeltown.
That's right. And
Mhm.
suckling pig, Francisco Ortega at Miami Dolphin games. Now in the book, all the recipes are in here, but there's too many to go through.
Yeah.
But-
And then another Madden quote, number
Yes.
4. I never eaten just a few bites of things I liked in my life.
That's exactly right. It's like, don't just eat half of it. Just
Yeah.
what the hell? I'll just have the whole thing. It's that good. Now, the next section of the book was pieces of meat and mastering heat.
Mm.
So there is tips on doneness on page 30, which I shall quickly flick to. Right. So it's that it's cold. So this is Butch Seamus. So and John Madden used to go be like a Rotary barbecue. He in his local town,
Mhm.
he would go and volunteer and do this big barbecue that they used to do with so he's always loved it. But he said what you want to look for is bubbles, right? So when you see those first drops of blood coming up through the steak, you know you can flip it if you want rare steak.
Yeah.
You let it keep going if you want more. So if you let a good amount of bubbles come through before you flip the meat, it'll be more well done. The same goes after you flip. Look for those bubbles to come through the crust of the meat. First bubbles means it's rare. More bubbles means it's medium. After that, you're beginning to look at well done.
Hmm.
So there
And
you
who
go.
wants meat well done?
No one that actually likes meat.
Yeah.
Sorry if I've offended anyone, but I'm standing by that.
Mhm.
So in this section of the book, there's some good
You
recipes.
got marinated shrimp chipotle.
Steak chipotle
on steak. Yeah.
from
I just because I like shrimp chipotle.
well,
too.
that's good too. And this is from the Ugly American Tailgating Club from San Francisco.
Good name.
I know.
Let's see what these guys look like.
And they would
Yeah.
have jackets and things with it.
Yeah.
Hats, yep.
Yeah, with stuff dripping out of their mouths. You know.
And well, this sounds a bit fancy. Pomegranate grilled lamb chops by Peter Mass, Minnesota Vikings fan.
And then we got smoked pork chops. John D. Lamba. He doesn't like football and never has been in a park.
In the inside of the game.
Inside the park, yeah.
Yeah.
Never watched the game, but he's been out there at Three Rivers Stadium.
Tailgating.
Then Three Rivers not even there anymore.
Oh, there's a few because like they talk about
Yeah,
Candlestick and
well,
all
this
that.
was done in the 90s.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right. It's all changed again.
Yeah.
Now-
And the Big Birds.
Big birds.
That's a big yellow thing on Sesame Street, right?
That is a big yellow thing on Sesame Street, but also this is a big bird,
Yeah.
a turducken.
It's a dark end. And that came out of Louisiana.
And John Madden, throughout that, he has an obsession with turducken. And the funniest place you can buy one here?
Yeah, and Aldi.
Yeah, that's right.
Aldi.
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 Yeah. Now, I only included this because I wanted you to say our famous.
Oh, yeah. Well, what episode was that? So we got the deep fried turkey from Ron Goodwin in
Kosher.
Missouri, and the
Yep.
Broncos tailgate Sandy Nalajelli. Okay, and don't forget about our famous fire fryer. Fire fryer. Did that make the all time hit parade?
The best of.
Yeah. Or that was that would have.
It has to.
If
It
you didn't
had
do
to.
that,
God, that's actually
We
all
need to
days in
fire
the
him.
episode.
We
how
need to
could
fire
you
him.
miss the fire
Why
fryer?
not have?
Oh, all right. We need a new.
Producer.
Yeah.
And sorry, so Sandy non-tags.
So now it gives you an excuse to get divorced. A new producer, new husband. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's all right.
New house.
New house. No, she'll take this one. You
And
find
the
a new
dog.
house.
That's right. And I get the dog.
Yeah.
I'll take the job too. Yeah, that goes.
Yeah, no. And Sandy non-tag has a Syracuse version of buffalo wings. So
Syracuse is also a God forbidden place to go in the wintertime. It is in the snow belt.
and that's why things have to be full of hot sauce because
They will get 20 something feet of snow a year.
it's
On
unbelievable.
Average. Yeah.
I don't know how anyone before modern times survived it.
Yeah. I know kids that went up to Syracuse University and they
Mhm.
said you had to tunnel from one dorm to the
I think
classes and all that. They made tunnels
there
through the
was
snow.
like a basketball sort of for some Australian kids or foreign kids that wanted to play basketball
Yeah.
in the US. It was sort of like a JC that they could go to that kind of helped them get. And it
Syracuse?
was in Syracuse. And when one of the mothers told me, I went, okay, lots of socks. You need lots of socks. Make sure you give them money to go buy like a down dooner.
Yeah.
Everything else. And he thinks he's going to drive in it.
Yeah.
But he made it through alive. Now, part of the big birds, we've
Mhm.
got that 6-legged turkey.
Yeah.
So he realized when there was more outstanding players than 2, they needed to add more
More
legs. The funny thing is, he didn't realize how many people didn't know how many legs were on a turkey because so it has six he's put on, and
Yeah.
one of his mates called up and said, "That's so cool. Where'd you get the other 2 legs?" Be walking around.
You know that turkey farm in Pennsylvania by 3 Mile?
That's
3
right.
Mile Island? Yeah.
It has the fish with the one eye floating around the outside of it. So now, Madden quote number 5.
Yeah, I was introduced to the turducken in New Orleans, and it wasn't Thanksgiving. Glenn at the Gourmet Butcher Block brought it by. I never heard of it, never seen it, and then I put it in the booth, and it smelled so good that I had to taste it, and it was good. Then Thanksgiving came, and we got one more addition to the traditional turkey.
Yeah, those guys would have been picking at it in
Yeah.
the booth.
Well,
There's
yeah,
no way.
whenever they go for the commercial,
Yeah.
timeout. Hey, Ted, there's a timeout. All right.
Now, in this book as well, good sandwiches is another section. So that has some barbecued hot beef sandwiches. Terry and Char Barrow from Green Bay.
And the Italian sausage sandwich from Firma Sanchez. How did Firma Sanchez make the Italian sausage?
Well, he might have been taught by Bruno.
Bruno's Market in Deli and Carmel.
Carmel, California.
Famous for its mayo.
That's right. One of its mayors, yes. Clint Eastwood, who has hog's breath. Yeah, hog's breath in. Do you know those waitresses? That's the first time I ever saw someone that took a whole order for a table and didn't write anything down. I was like, that's freaky.
Wow.
And the same day, my mom, who is pretty beautiful, she went into the ladies' room and this girl was just staring at her. So mom's washing her hands, just like something in my teeth. She goes, "Should I know who you are?" Mom's like, she came out going, someone thought I was famous. Okay, so now,
God.
Seafood is the next one.
Yes.
Lake and river food too. Be crawdads.
Yeah.
Oh,
And catfish.
and all the good stuff. That's what he does have a line about that in the book. You know, good food's not pretty food. Catfish isn't pretty. He went to this place and they made it pretty. He goes, I don't want to eat that there. I don't want. It's like he goes some French fancy sort of way. He goes, oh, that's not how I want my catfish. Now, Cafe Fina Cioppino. So Cioppino is a really. Have you had it?
Oh yeah. If
It's
you go to
California.
San Francisco,
Yeah,
you gotta have it.
Cioppino. And they have Cioppino parties and things. The recipe in the book is far more simple. There's no shellfish in it. It's just the stew. But it's a fish stew and it's fantastic. So that's a nice hot thing to have cooking out there.
And then you got a crab melt a la Suzanne Fiera. And makes it every year for the Dolphins Patriots game in Miami.
Yeah, it's our specialty.
Mm.
Okay, another chapter or section is
Mostly Mexican.
that is right. So living in California, you know, he was exposed. So he moved from Minnesota, I think, when he was 6 out to California. So we have award-winning chili from Todd and Nancy Walters. Won the chili cook-off at Arrowhead Stadium with the recipe.
And it's was it for Chile, Colorado?
No, that's just the next one.
Oh, okay.
But can you imagine a parking lot with a chili cook-off? Do you remember chili cook-offs? Did you do that in SoCal? Did you see that?
No. Well, I lived in Southern California. Okay, not Northern.
Yes, I know.
We had more cheese and wine.
Yeah, you're in the substandard part of
Yes.
California. But there's nothing like if you want good chili at home, at least, you want a fireman to make that for you.
Yeah.
They cook
Just like
beautifully.
making a Bloody Mary.
Fireman?
Yeah, volunteer firemen make the best ones. Okay, speaking of the 49ers, paella from Floyd the Barber.
That is the guy's name,
Not
Floyd.
to be confused by the guy over on Old Danyon Road, Floyd the barista.
Yeah, that's right. You
Yes.
just drive through. No, so this is Floyd the Barber is the guy that John Madden saw still kicking on hours after the game. So his mother was from Spain. So he'd make this giant. Can you imagine that in the tailgate? Giant.
I haven't had a
pan.
really good paella in ages because a really good paella is you got it coming out and the bottom rice got to be stuck together.
Yeah, that's right. And there's also, speaking of firemen, so John
That's
Heiser,
one of the good things about Sydney. They used to
Yes.
have on Liverpool Street, I think it was.
Right.
It's all the Spanish restaurants on one block,
Oh,
and they all competed against who made the best paella.
that
So you
would
can't
be-
get a bad one. I don't know if it's still like that, but it used to be.
I'm going back to Seinfeld,
Mhm.
where George's parents were talking to Jerry about his parents.
Yeah.
Aren't your parents going to come visit my parents? My mom made paella. But she made paella, Jerry.
Yeah. They don't like paella.
I don't want to visit your parents. So, yeah, Firehouse Fajitas.
They make paella with kasha.
That's another episode.
Oh God!
Want some kasha?
Yeah. What smells in here?
Okay, we have definitely fallen off the rails. So,
That won't be the first time.
no. So the Firehouse Fajitas are at Miami Dolphins games.
Huh?
Hmm.
And then we go on to another chapter in the book. It's stews, soups, and other one-pot meals. So Mrs. Bucks Holinsky, Diane Buzzkowski,
Yes.
mom of Bob Buzzkowski. So you got the Haluski
Yes. Now, this is
from
the...
Buzzkowski is actually cabbage, butter, noodles, and garlic salt.
So that is the recipe. Before we were recording, Phil was talking about these great noodles he's found, or pasta. And I said, actually, this recipe in this book, because it only has those ingredients, that's it.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, when one of the guys, a chef that was helping John Madden taste everything, he said, you don't want this recipe in your book. He goes, trust me, you want it.
But it's a sinker.
It's a sinker, and it's fresh out of the skillet. So Mrs. Butt used to make it all the time, and then Buzzkowski had to, I think he hurt himself, so he retired. So when the Fox crew came back to their town, Mrs. Buck would still bring a really hot pan of this for them to enjoy. So cabbage, butter, noodles, and garlic salt. So I think I might make that this weekend, actually.
I'll get the noodles.
Yes, now I know where to go.
Yeah.
And
Well, we could tell everybody. You go to Aldi.
Yep.
They're noodles, and I believe they were in a box. I bought them for Christmas, and then I just finished the last bit of it last week to do with a shrimp, like sort of a shrimp scampi. And they're just outstanding. They're really nice texture. They're heavy, sort of more like a homemade noodle. They're not broad. They're thick.
Yeah.
And they're really good. But they had I think, an Italian name onto them. We'll have to let everybody else know.
Yep.
I'll go back to Aldi and find them.
we'll
again.
have the box.
Yes.
Okay. Now, also going back to the one pot meals. So I suppose the ultimate is chicken sausage pork jambalaya.
Mio mayo.
That's it.
Jambalaya.
Baked. That's at the Kiva. Baked cabbage with 3 meats. From this guy's name.
Prosciutto Pete.
That's
Hey.
it. Yeah.
This was and it's brother Joey Bacaloni. Yeah.
I love all the nicknames in here. And minestrone at the Meadowlands.
Yeah, why not?
But John Madden did say he goes, it's probably because we didn't have a lot of money, but his mother made a lot of casseroles. He goes, give me casserole, and that's what I want. I'm happy.
Especially in the wintertime, living in Minnesota. God, yeah.
And he
You want
said,
heartwarming foods.
so even on the days, he would, if you gave him some chicken and rice, like this Mexican dish that he likes, and beans. He mixed it all together like it was a casserole.
And then on the side.
Yes.
Okay, so Santa Maria barbecued beans. Love barbecue beans.
Well, and this recipe, his mate, who's a rancher, brought this huge cast iron pot that is like 100 years old that they make the beans in.
Right.
So it's hanging like on a frame.
Yeah, it's got to cook for like a few hours to concentrate everything into the beans. And I love baked beans. Yeah, but they got to be done right. Not out of the can. You got to use the can, drip out all the crap that's in it.
Yes.
You know, add your things like you got to add like another sweetener. You got to add some onions, some mustard, maybe some barbecue sauce or ketchup, Dr. Pepper, and just, and get it. It's really wet. And when you put it in the oven for a few hours, and it just dries up and then it becomes,
My mom is good at that. Actually, Mom, try the Dr. Pepper. Let me know. She always puts extra brown sugar and like
you got to doctor it up.
Yeah, that's right. It's just the base.
Yeah.
And so there's also the recipe for blue ribbon barbecued potatoes. There's another one in there called suicide potatoes because everything that was in it is what the doctors say will kill you. So it had like butter, mayo, like sour cream, and about 4 cheeses.
Well, I can't say much about not eating this type of food. And look at John Madden, a big guy.
Yep.
85 years old.
Yeah.
He enjoyed every bite of his life.
That is, I think it's the joy. I think that joy can counteract some of the other crap, really.
Yeah. And the last one on the side is pepperoni bread. Now, we used to have a thing in New York called lard bread. And it was like the bits and pieces of like pork.
Right.
You get the lard and you mix it up into the bread. So you get the fat that's coming out into the bread as it's cooking, plus the taste of the meat. And the pepperoni bread will be probably its cousin of that.
Yes.
And it's done with peppercorn, cracked pepper through it. So you're getting that bite.
Can you make that, Phil?
I'll have to get around. I should be able to find a recipe of that.
I would love that.
I love it too.
Special request. Now, before I do our next John Madden quote, in the acknowledgments of the book, I just wanted to read this line out. Thanks first to all the fans who are so generous with their food and their secret family recipes. And also people would come and knock on the bus door with like, I made this. Do you want to try it? Like, it was like Uncle John.
Yeah.
He's so lovely. Okay, so Madden quote number 6. You go ahead, Phil.
Okay, since 1981, I spent every Thanksgiving Day broadcasting a game. And it's one of my favorite days. You can say, woe is me. I've never been part of the tradition. Or I can say, heck, we got our own tradition and it's pretty good.
That's that positivity again.
Yeah. So there we go. So that's the end of this segment. We'll be right back after this short musical break. Now we're going to do some housekeeping, get out the brooms and dust cloths.
That's right. So now the code for the month of February is
hotter than July.
There you go. On the US website, USA Foods website, you can click on the listener discount logo to get yourself to our items that are on listener special. The store is open 7 days a week, and you can check our site for the hours. You can subscribe, share, and engage with the podcast at podcast@usafoods.com.au.
Yeah. Okay, so feedback for the week.
Yes, so we've got some feedback. Now, I know where it is.
Yep.
Brendan's pointing at things like I don't know where it is, but
Just
I know
help
where
me.
it is.
Yeah.
Right. Liz J., who has been with us since the beginning. She left us a really good bit of feedback on our YouTube channel. So we talked about peanut butter last week. So the other week, the year was 1955. We were driving along the Autobahn, probably on our way to a commissary on base. On the side of the road, thumb out, was a young man with an Australian flag on his backpack, which was on the ground in front of him. My Australian mum made my dad turn around and find our way back to pick up this young man. He stayed with us at Ben Franklin Village in Mannheim, for at least a week. he really liked peanut butter, which he had never tasted before. My mom mailed a jar of peanut butter to him at his Australian address for years, which is a lovely story. So Brendan sent a note back to her and just asked, was it not available in 1955 in Australia, peanut butter? Or was it just that you sent, or your mom sent his favorite non-Australian brand? And Liz came back with, peanut butter was unheard of in Australia, just as Vegemite, sausage rolls, and pavlova were unheard of in the US, unless you lived next door to one of the Aussie war brides. So Brendan did a little bit of research, I was very proud of him because he did that. So much like we talked about the other day, peanut butter was here, but in it was called peanut butter paste, or peanut paste, excuse me, because
Why don't you make it sound more disgusting?
I know, paste. It's like fish paste. Because the dairy industry, much like they're doing with almond milk and things like that, have kicked up a stink and go, you can't call it butter.
Yeah.
So Ida had it, but in New South Wales, Victoria, and Tassie, they said, we're not doing that, and they were calling it peanut butter. So it seems that it could have been around the paste that is from the 29s and from 1929.
Yeah, but they didn't have they only had like corner stores and little markets and stuff like that where people shopped during that day. They didn't have supermarkets.
No, and you could be very easily miss it.
Yeah.
That is exactly right. And plus,
then it probably tasted pretty awful too.
Well, and even the name, like, we know peanut butter is amazing, but looking at something called peanut butter, you'd be ooh.
Yeah. But even nowadays, the difference between American peanut butter and Australian peanut butter is night and day. Almost.
That's exactly
right. It's
right.
like mayonnaise.
That is it.
Yeah.
Now, and we also heard from our good friend Megan, and Phil was very jealous about part of this.
Yeah.
So I don't know how to.
Told my son he was even more jealous.
Megan, I'm getting to that. So we'll start that. She wished us a happy holidays, which is lovely, and she loved the Best of podcast. I will send that to Brendan because he popped those all together. I just wanted to say that my 20-year-old son Connor had a hankering for McDonald's sausage egg biscuit breakfast, which I have one too right now. So I used the USA Foods biscuit to make the biscuits, made up a copycat Jimmy Dean sausage recipe, and did flat scrambled eggs. They were delicious. I'm going to make an old childhood favorite of mine this weekend called Simply Scrumptious Squares. Biscuit base with some grated cheese added, seasoned pork mince with mayo, onion, mushrooms on top of the dough covered in grated cheese. Yum. What's going on with you two?
Nothing. Ralphie number one. Look at my fingers.
Well, lift your hands up, Phil. Megan, I'm sorry about this. I was reading, and I look up, and they're both giggling like people that I have to separate them. Now,
wait till we start throwing spitballs around. Yeah,
that's right.
You could be the nun.
We used to have like the contraption with the backward paper clip that we
take
and
flick
them. Anyway, Mom, I didn't really do that. That was all Dolores. Okay, so, and they're also, Megan and her family are living vicariously as her 23-year-old daughter, Emma, is currently working as a video technician through her company, Big Picture, on tour with Tool.
Yes. And
traveling
that's where
around
we're
the
jealous
US.
because Tool's a really big group. A lot of people haven't heard of him, but, in the rock scene. And my son, when I told my son that, he was flipping out because he loves Tool. And he's a guitarist, and the last time I was over at his house, he was practicing one of the Tool songs.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And so she's having this big tour. She's gone through Eugene, Tacoma, San Francisco, Sacramento, San Diego, Anaheim, Denver, Colorado Springs, Dallas, Tulsa, etc.
What a treat.
Oh, I know. She's had Mexican
But
food.
she has to be in a bubble, too.
Yeah, that's right. So, there's not a lot of going out, but they've had to organize some in and out, some Mexican food and good things. And the shake and bake took her right back. She goes, it's the little things, right? When we were talking about shake and bake the other week. So thanks to Sean for that. And she hoped we were all well. She and her family were sick over the holidays. So we hope she's feeling better now.
Okay. So we're going to go really by this next section, which is the food celebration holidays.
Yes.
So we just got to mention them. We're not going to go into any depth because of time-related issues. So tomorrow is National Cream Cheese Brownie Day, one of my favorites from Zordo's in New York.
And another one is Have a Brownie Day.
Yeah.
So brownie.
And National Cream-Filled Chocolate Day.
Yeah.
And then Valentine's Day.
The day for
Super Bowl.
And Super Bowl.
And Super Bowl.
The
Yes.
day for chocolates and arguments.
Yes.
Not Super Bowl, but Valentine's Day. So now we have got some more of our store super specials. So for 1 week only,
It's the Sean's store.
Sean, that's
super
exactly
special.
right. He was thinking of tailgating as well. We
Mm-hmm.
don't always go with a theme, but this time, so we've got the Louisiana wing sauce. 12 fluid ounces,
Yeah.
$5.99 to $4, and the big can of Bush's vegetarian baked beans.
Now that's a good start, good base to
It's-
make your
yeah.
real baked beans.
They are beautiful. Now, Phil, and they're $5.99 down to $4. Now, why do we have to have vegetarian baked beans?
Because you can't have that little bit of pork in there because you might contaminate all the pork farmers here
And the
in
whole
Australia.
I thought, you haven't had a rant, so I thought I'd throw that in for
Yes.
you.
And yeah, go ahead. I won't go to that other rant yet.
We'll save it.
No.
So this is on special from Wednesday 9th of Feb to Tuesday the 15th of Feb. No code needed. It's just on special.
Okay, so now we're going to go to personal best profiles, and today's my day.
Yes.
And I have Lily's Golden Barbecue Sauce. Now, this one is the South Carolina mustard, and we opened it up so we could all have a taste and
Yep.
know what it's like because other people haven't tried it yet. So it is tangy because it is a California-based product, so it has
Yep.
a lot of vinegar taste in it, but it also Carolina, sorry.
Yep.
And it also, has that mustardy. So it's, like a brown instead of a red.
That's right.
And in my liking with this, pulled pork.
Yeah.
Pulled pork sandwich with just drizzled over it. And just yesterday, we're at a local place and they had a corned beef sandwich done with some cheese on it and then melted over it. But this would have fitted onto that
beautiful.
sandwich perfectly, and then some coleslaw.
Ooh.
Onto a nice bun. And corned beef, that's like, it's not just for St. Patty's Day anymore.
No, you can have it anytime.
You can have it, and it's not an expensive cut of meat. And the only thing I do is like steam it, and it's already
Mm.
done because it's already cured.
Yep.
And makes beautiful sandwiches. And you could just like what they did, they just grilled it, so you get a little charring on it,
Yep.
and then make it onto a sandwich. Put some Swiss cheese onto it, some coleslaw, and some of this beautiful, golden
Lily's.
barbecue. Yeah.
It's got, if you like mustard, because it has that mustard flavor
Yeah.
to it. It's tangy,
Mm.
but it's not. It's flavorful, but it's not going to hurt you. So
Yes.
it doesn't have that kick.
Mm-hmm.
And a good company. It is a gentleman who is looking after his grandmother's recipes and sort of opened a restaurant in Chicago and tries to cover different areas barbecue sauces, as we have spoken about in the past. Depending where you're from, the sauces are a bit different.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going to go to a personal best.
No, that's you.
That's me again. No, we did the personal best. That's it.
That's
it.
it.
Now we're going to go.
You're out of order.
I'm out of order. You're out of order.
You set him off again.
Oh God, you do it with me all the time.
Okay, it's me.
Okay.
Right. Now,
Knowledge nuggets.
we're doing knowledge nuggets this week. Now, people, send them in.
Yeah, send in
Right?
your
Because
nuggets.
I want to hear, me.
Gold nuggets, whatever.
Is there something that you go, oh, my mother told me that? Or
No
I have to tell
noogies,
someone-
nuggets. Difference. It's a
Oh,
difference.
my God, you too. Anyway, so now, Phil, would you like to go first, please?
Okay. Well, I put down here to confuse everybody
Right.
because they have no clue. Because when Brendan asked me, what do you want to do? I said, okay, better, butter, greater.
Right.
So do you have any clue what I'm talking about?
No.
No. Good. Okay. So here's a dilemma.
Which is not unusual. Yes.
Right. Now you're doing something like, say, a sweet potato casserole,
Right.
right? So you got all your sweet potatoes down. Then you want to put butter on it. And of course, you're putting all that. And then some comes out too fat, too thin. Get your cheese grater out. And on the side of your cheese grater is those big holes things.
Yes.
Grate your butter over it.
Ah.
You're making biscuits. You want to blend the butter into the biscuits. You don't have time for it to melt. Use your grater better. And use your grater to grate your butter. Did I tell you about the butter story?
Yes,
No.
and we're
Okay.
not
There's
sharing
no butter
it.
in. Yeah, okay. I told you that. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So use your grater to grate your butter to
That
make it better.
that makes such good sense. I hate to admit that.
Yes.
But it
because
does.
A lot of times you want to spread the butter
Yeah.
all over,
And you
and
just
it's
get,
too hard.
yeah. Now, I think
So
probably if you stuck it in the freezer for a little bit, if it was getting a bit, depending on the time of year,
Yeah.
That
But
might be
usually
good
if you
too.
take it out right out of the fridge,
Fridge
it's
is
always hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's-
hard as a rock.
That's when you stab your toast and it
Yeah.
doesn't spread.
Yeah, another thing, if you so for like a lot of people over, you want to do a whole lot of toast with butter, grate the butter on the toast. There it goes. Spreads out. And then, the thing that I hate, you put butter on toast,
Yes.
right? And you spread it, and it like tears the whole
Yeah,
toast
got
apart.
a hole in it. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Now you don't have that problem no more.
I love
Done.
it. Okay. Well,
Wow, that could be the butter grater, butter. I think I win it for the year.
Yeah, that's good.
right.
Better butter.
Okay. Because we've done 3 of them.
You top it now. Go
Right.
ahead, you go.
Well,
Go.
mine's from John Madden.
Ah,
And this comes from the Canadian fisheries.
Yeah.
Right. So it's how long to cook fish for. So you go by an inch. If you want to, so imagine like a big thick tuna steak or something.
30
So-
mils. For those who don't know inches.
Well, yes, that's it. So it's for when you broil, fry, poach your fish, cook no longer than 10 minutes per inch of thickness. So if it's a half an inch, it's no longer than 5 minutes. It'll be on the well
Or
done
just until
side.
it turns translucent. No, it is translucent when you put it. So it turns,
Yeah, but the
like,
thing is,
if it's like shrimp, as soon as it's pink, it's done.
well, that bit. But if you're doing like pieces of fish, unless you have a touch for it,
Yeah.
you can be uncomfortable. And then it's always yours. You have to rip open in the middle to make sure it's not raw.
Mhm.
So that is my knowledge nugget.
Unless it's tuna, because in the tuna you only want to see the outside and the inside.
That's right. That is right.
Okay, and next week's show.
Yep.
Oh, Canada. my home and native land. Okay, so we have a very special guest coming in
Yes.
next week.
Excellent. Do you want to
Okay.
tell us anything about this guest, or we're going to surprise everyone?
Well, no, we could tell a little bit. So, Ken and Dina.
Mhm.
So I play hockey with Ken,
Yep.
and they've been here for some time. And they go back and forth now between Canada and Australia. They have one son here, one son there,
Oh, yep.
and he lives up near Whistler. And so we, same 6 months out of the year. Been long-term friends and with Dina for the last 20-something years. She's a school helper, and I always help her out. Like this year, she wasn't here, but usually she'll come in and we'll get the graham crackers and and she goes back to school and make little the houses.
Oh,
What do you
yeah,
call
yeah,
it?
gingerbread. It's like
Gingerbread
the
house,
gingerbread.
but
Yep.
but using the graham
Oh, that's a
crackers.
good idea. I think I have heard of that before
Yeah.
when you're looking for.
But she'll get to see her.
Well, lovely. We look forward to speaking with Dina.
And she'll talk about things difference between Canada and the U.S., like what you get there, what you can't get here, and also what she misses
Yeah,
from
be
home.
what she misses, because I know how that feels.
Yeah.
Now we're going to sign off. Do you want to do this one, or do you want
Okay.
me to?
This is number 7. It takes about 3 times longer to explain to someone why you wouldn't give them an autograph as it actually does to give them an autograph.
That's it.
Yeah, so, here's your autograph. Yeah, get lost. Yeah.
Yes, that
That
was
was-
John Madden.
Mhm.
And what a great guy. Always looking on the bright side. Maybe that's why 85 was as he was with us so long.
Yeah.
So
And I got one little thing two
Oh,
little
please.
things to finish up. We still got
Beautiful.
time, producer?
No,
No.
sorry, I-
Okay.
tough.
Could have been. Could have been.
Okay, I'm going to make a suggestion here.
Yes.
We should do a USA Foods tailgating party and invite all the neighbors, our customers and stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
to come along. And we got a big backyard behind our place or on the side of it and do a
Tailgate.
tailgate
That would be great.
and put a screen up and play some game or something so it feels like we're at a game.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, there
All
we
right.
go. We have to have that meeting.
Yes. All right. Good night.
What a-
And
did
have
you
a-
have other ideas? Did you have other
Well, we
ideas?
don't have time. Next time.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, next
No.
show?
Maybe next show or the show after,
All right.
but I'll forget it by then. Okay.
Don't do
I'll
that.
remind you.
Okay.
You write it
I
down,
could
Phil.
have done it by now.
You want the autograph?
Just like the quotes.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. We will see you next week.
Goodbye.
There you go.
So the other one was
I knew that was coming.
What's the other one?
playing football at school in this classroom
What? What do you mean?
with a coin. You never did that?
Oh, like flicking it?
Yeah. So you had 3 downs.
Oh, we didn't do it with the coin. We used to fold up a little.
Oh, we did it with a coin. So
Triangle.
you saw the coin. You put the coin here on the
Mhm.
edge, and you get 3 downs to get it to the other one. Right. So you
Yeah.
go 1, to.
We're going from this side to here, from here in the
Yeah.
table.
Yeah,
the
so you got to
three-
get into the end zone. So you make like a little end zone marker
Yeah.
because
Yes.
you know, and you could just go bang and it's off the table. You can't do that. So,
Right.
So you got to get in the end zone. So you got to 1, 2.
It
You try to
was-
get in the end zone.
Oh, right.
Okay, and then if you didn't, then the other guy takes over.
And he's
Okay.
going the other way.
Yeah,
Of course.
but if you do get a touchdown, then you got to go for the after point. The
Oh.
point after. So then you do this, okay, or something, you know.
Oh, right.
And then the guy gets it in.
Oh, so you're
Yeah.
flicking it.
See, we
So
used
when you
to.
flick it from
do
here,
that.
so here it's hanging over the table, right?
Yeah.
That's your first one. But when it's here,
Yeah, you just keep
you
on.
just scoop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
God, it's kept us busy for
Yeah.
hours, John.
Yeah,
That's
well-
why we didn't learn anything.
I love my barbecue. Once you find a love like mine, you know that love is true. Understand, I'm just a man with the pork fat baby back blues. Yeah, understand, I'm still your man with the pork fat baby back blues.